Alright, so the problem that I'm going to be working on is this problem about Zach and his lawn. So Zach had 2/3 of the lawn left to cut. After lunch he cut 3/4 of the lawn he had left. How much of the whole lawn did Zach cut after lunch? So I'm going to go back through each of these sentences because I think each of these sentences tells me pretty important information. So my first sentence, Zach had 2/3 of the lawn left to cut. So that tells me that he's already cut some of the lawn. And since he has 2/3 of the lawn left, I know that he's already cut 1/3 of his lawn. And then I find out that after lunch, he cut 3/4 of the lawn that he had left. So of that 2/3 that he had left, after lunch, he cuts 3/4 of it. And now my question that I'm trying to figure out is how much of the whole lawn does Zach cut after lunch? That is my task that I have to figure out. So I think what I want to do is draw a picture, because I think it'll be helpful for me to actually see this lawn and sort of be able to have a picture of it that I can work from. So I'm going to draw a rectangular lawn. I think that will be the easiest thing to do. And I know that we're talking about thirds, so I'm going to divide my lawn into thirds. And my first part of my question was that he had 2/3 of his lawn left. So that means that I know that he had 2/3 of it left to cut after lunch. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of shade in this first third, because I know that this part, I know that he already did this before lunch. Alright, so then the next part of my problem tells me that after lunch he cut 3/4 of the lawn that he had left. So the lawn that he had left are these 2/3 over here, and I'm going to just cover up this before lunch part because I don't even really need to worry about it right now. So I know that he cut 3/4 of the lawn that he had left after lunch. So right now this space is divided in half, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those halves in half and make fourths. And I know that after lunch he cut 3/4 of the lawn that he had left. So I'm going to shade 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and I made the lines going a different direction because I really want to remember that this is different from that first part I shaded. This is the lawn that he cut after lunch. Alright, so I'm going to go sort of take my hand away and look at the whole thing for a second. So my question is, how much of the whole lawn did Zach cut after lunch? So now I'm not focused on just this part over here, I'm focused on the whole thing. So for these thirds, I had divided them in half, and I'm going to go ahead and divide this third in half as well. So now I see that my whole lawn is divided into sixths. So I know that we're talking about sixths right now, and now I just have to figure out how many of those sixths did Zach cut after lunch. So this is my after lunch part, and it looks like he cut 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. And I know that 3/6 is actually the same thing as 1/2, and I can get that by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 3. So I know that Zach cut 1/2 of his lawn after lunch. And I wrote that in a sentence because I think it's good to actually kind of go back and think about the question you're answering and write it in a sentence. So my answer is that Zach cut 1/2 of the lawn after lunch. I think the picture was a pretty good way to solve it. For me, it really helped me to be able to see it visually and actually really be able to look at what's happening in the problem.